The Reapers are a terrifying race of machines. They're loud, intimidating, and immensely powerful. It's hard to believe their design was inspired by cute little cuttlefish. But to be fair, if they were small and made up of squishy bits, they'd be adorable too. But they're gigantic and made up of metal and bad times. A fitting villain for a space opera. So let's talk about the Reapers. A sentient race of angry spaceships, the Reapers are ancient machines who claim to have no beginning or end. Resembling cuttlefish, as previously mentioned, their metallic appearances evokes images of giant squids, with sizing ranging from 120 meters all the way to 2 kilometers. To save the strain on your calculator, that's 524.934 feet to 1.2427 miles. While most Reapers share a similar design, their diversity lies in their cores, each of which resemble the species used to create it. Oh, did we forget to mention? The core, which is the source of each Reaper's life, is created from the liquefied remains of other sentient races which are Reapers deem worthy. You probably already knew that, but if you didn't, play Mass Effect 2 again. Aside from their similar general design, there is some variety in the different classes of Reapers. The smallest ones are the Destroyer class, commonly serving as escorts for their larger counterparts, which are Destroyers, which pack a heck of a punch with their main cannon. They appear to be more suited to the ground combat than any other style of Reaper, with 4 solid legs that allow for movement while also firmly planting it in place. Your best defense against these bad boys is probably to run, that is, unless you happen to have a portable nuke or giant space worm on hand. The most common Reaper class is the capital ship, known by many as Sovereign class, thanks to the Reaper by the same name which served as the Citadel species' first contact with the machines. Think of it like if a Star Destroyer or the Starship Enterprise were alive and very mean. Capital ships are extremely durable and capable of decimating virtually anything with their main cannon, which fires streams of molten metal at insane speeds. Aside from that, they also sport several smaller weapons in each tentacle and hold small fleets of remote-controlled Oculus drones which can function as both starfighters and even infiltration units. The final class of Reaper is, as far as we know, unique to only the Reaper Harbinger. Being the first Reaper ever created, it is believed to be the largest of its kind, and sports a distinct and more angular design than your average Sovereign class. It is unknown whether or not Harbinger is more powerful than those who came after it, but we do know it's got a really cool voice, which has got to count for something.
Know this as you die in vain. Your time will come. Your species will fall. Prepare yourselves for the arrival.
One of the main reasons the Reapers are such dangerous enemies is their ability to enthrall other races as makeshift armies for a process known as indoctrination. Through indoctrination, the subject's mind is subtly manipulated. In light cases, this can simply make it so they agree with the Reaper's plans while believing they came to this conclusion on their own. In not so slight cases, they can lose their mind entirely, becoming obedient slaves to be used as workers, soldiers, or just cannon fodder. Indoctrination affects anyone in near enough proximity to a Reaper, or even a Reaper artifact, which makes it a trivial task to create entire armies in short order. This particular brand of indoctrination can be streamlined by impaling subjects on large Reaper artifacts known as Dragon's Teeth. This quickly consumes the victim with cybernetics and turns them into a mindless fraud to do the Reaper's bidding without question. The fascinating bit about indoctrination is that while each Reaper can control the intensity, the act of indoctrination is almost involuntary. To a Reaper, it comes as naturally as breathing. This means that even if all of the Reaper's other functions have stopped, it can still indoctrinate. It's like the sun, except instead of warm, friendly rays, you get mind control. Billions of years ago, the galaxy was under the rule of a race known as the Leviathans. Seeing themselves as benevolent rulers, the Leviathans had no choice but to step in when they noticed a trend of their organic subjects continually creating synthetic life which would inevitably turn around and destroy their creators. After trying and failing to figure out a way to stop this trend, the Leviathans created an intelligence whose sole purpose was to figure out a solution. This was clearly a great idea, since it turned out so well for everyone else. The intelligence did just that, by killing most of the Leviathans and reducing the rest into genetic material, which they refined to create the first Reaper, because it saw this as the only way to preserve the species. Turns out, you have to be really specific when telling an artificial intelligence to do something. This first Reaper was Harbinger, and it was created in the form of the Leviathans. Over the following billions of years, the Reapers, still following the programming of the intelligence, continued to harvest the sentient species of the galaxy in the same manner as they rose up into the galactic scene. The Reapers had no sense of life or community as organics did, so to them, converting each species into the form of one of their own was a practical method of fulfilling their purpose. Each race they harvested became a new Reaper. Countless cycles of life and death resulted in countless new Reapers, and each time they left no evidence of their presence, leaving the next cycle to remain blissfully unaware of their fate. The Reapers eventually created the Mass Relay Network and the Citadel. This essentially forced the sentient species of the galaxy to follow a certain path of advancement, making it quicker and easier for the Reapers to harvest them at the right time. At some point, they also repurposed one of the conquered species into caretakers for the Citadel, known to us as the Keepers, to ensure as little hindrance as possible during advancement. Apparently, even giant robot squids can be impatient too. At some point during this time, the species being targeted for harvesting began to realise the threat of the Reapers before their time had come, thanks to knowledge passed down from the races who came before. This results in plans for a super weapon being passed down through each cycle, with each race adding to it bit by bit over millions of years. Whether this weapon, eventually known as the Crucible, would one day prove to be the end of the threat depends on who's telling the story. Sure, we may have left out some key story beats in there, but remember, this is about the races, not about the story. Odds are, we'll probably cover a few things like indoctrination and the Reaper War in greater detail at some point, but for now, let's hear your thoughts. How did the story end for you? Do you think the Reapers are good villains? Do you really want a pet cuttlefish now? Talk to us in the comments below, and remember, if you want to see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time here on Mass Effect Follower.
Your words are as empty as your future. I am the vanguard of your destruction. This exchange is over.